Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Verified Podcast. This is your girl Gabby, and I'm so happy to have you back for another week, another episode. If this is your very first time here, we welcome you. Air hug. And if you have been here before and you're back again, thank you for coming back and showing your love and support. We really appreciate you being here and taking out time to share your life with us, because one of the reasons I started doing a podcast is because it is a more intimate feel. Like, you literally have to take time out of your day to go to your podcasting app or to actually click out of something to actually get to this podcast. So trust and believe, I don't take this for granted. I really appreciate your love and your support and coming in and listening and rating us and subscribing and doing all of that good stuff. So you're the real MVP. So shout out to you. So what's really good? What's going on with you guys? How is your weekend going? I am recording on a Sunday, which is something that I try not to do, but I have had such a busy weekend with work and with spending time with my family. You know, things just came up, so I had to kind of push this to the side just a little bit, but I am here still. I'm being faithful to what God has blessed me with in this season, and so my goal is to not give up, because I do have a tendency, if I can be transparent, I do have a tendency to sometimes give up when it gets difficult or when I feel like I may have fell short on something. So even though I am late recording the podcast, I'm not going to allow that me recording it late to stop me from getting it done altogether. So that's where I'm at. What are you guys doing? Are you still going to the gym? Have you still been drinking your water? Are you still being disciplined? Or are you on the other side of the spectrum? And one of the very first podcasts that we talked about was, how people tend to give up about 6 weeks or less into the new year. And I think that we are 9 to 10 weeks into the new year. So where are you at? Are you a part of, I think it's like the 66% of the people who give up, or are you still going after it? What's that looking like for you? I hope you're still going after it. I mean, that's the goal, to keep going even when it's tough. But I do understand that life happens, and I do understand that things come up. But the goal, again, is to keep going even when things come up, because our goal is to be a little bit more flexible. Our goal is to be a little bit more agile, I guess you could say, and just learn how to maneuver around those things that may try and hold us up from getting to the gym or getting to wherever it is that you're trying to go in life. I think that we just have to be a little bit more agile with how we move and all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So if you don't know what this Verified Podcast is about, we are a podcast that talks about how verified we are, because unlike our social media accounts, we don't necessarily need the followers or the extraness, although those things are welcome, and we do appreciate the likes and we appreciate the acknowledgement that we get from social media, but we say that does not make us who we are, because in real life, we're already verified. We know who we are. We're striving to become the very best person that we can be for ourselves and to others, and that's what makes us verified, is because we do what we say that we're going to do, and that we are the person that we say that we are, and we stand by those words. So that's who we are, and that's what we're about, and that's exactly what this podcast is about. And so let's go ahead and jump into today's real versus counterfeit. Real versus counterfeit is the portion where we come together and we talk about what's real versus what's counterfeit. Because if we can be extremely, and I mean real, honest with ourselves, some of us have bought into some things that we thought was real, and we didn't figure out it was fake until we got home. Or maybe we have invested time into someone and all of that time was wasted, or we thought that it was wasted because we found out the counterfeit portion of that person. Or maybe you have believed some false truths about yourself, because that's also a counterfeit. I used to believe for a very long time that no one wanted to hear what I had to say because I thought that my voice was too soft. And this was something that was planted in my spirit a long time ago. Like, people used to always tell me that, oh, you have such a soft voice. And when people would tell me that, I would take that as if no one wanted to hear what I had to say. And in order for me to do this podcast, that was something that I had to get over. That was something that I had to put in its place and say, that's not who I am. Just because my voice does sound a certain way does not mean that I don't have anything to say or that no one wants to hear what I have to say. So this is the portion of the show where we put things in place and we figure out what the truth is and what the fake is, because it's so important, not only for you, but for the people that you are connected to, because what you believe about yourself is going to manifest itself in how you talk to people and how you find yourself presenting yourself to the world. And so it's important that you believe the truth about yourself so that you can not only provoke change within yourself, but so that you can provoke the same change in someone else. And so that's what this segment is all about. It's about you finding out the truth about yourself and the circumstances that you're currently in. So today's real versus counterfeit is the notion that we think that we don't have enough time to do the things that are important to us. Like, we don't have enough time to go to the gym. We don't have enough time to visit our family. We don't have enough time to do whatever that blank is for you. I want you to fill it in with whatever that circumstance that you feel like you don't have enough time to do. And this one hits home for me because I have people who come into the gym day in and day out, and, we sit and we talk about their goals, and then we talk about their time and how much time they think that they're going to be able to get into the gym realistically. And a lot of them are just like, I really want to do it, but I don't know how I'm going to find the time. And I always find that really funny because they found the time to come that day, but they don't know how they're going to find the time to come another day. And so I think that also happens with us to a certain extent, is that we feel like we don't have enough time to do the things that are important to us. And I am really big on this statement here, is that I believe that we make time for the things that are important to us. And at the end of the day, this all boils down to time management. So my question to you is it that you don't have enough time to actually do it, or are you being careless with your time? Because it's either or. Either you literally, your schedule is just so jam-packed that you can't find even 30 minutes to do whatever that thing is that you need to do, or you might be wasting it on something that's not adding value to who you are and to where you're going. And especially when it comes to our health, I just believe that should be a priority for everyone, only because, like, how are you going to help someone else if you're not healthy? Or how are you going to continue to go to that job that you don't like? How are you going to continue to do those things if you are not healthy? And so I really don't understand, or I can't grasp how we don't make our health a priority, and we make other things a priority, and we place other people ahead of ourselves, and we place our jobs and our other endeavors ahead of our own health. How is that even possible? I'm really I want to know your thought process behind it, because I know that it happens all the time. But my hope is that we can kind of shift our thinking back to us, because, like, everything begins with us, but it has absolutely nothing to do with us. And what I mean by that is that everything that we do, it begins with who we are as a person. Everything that we give, it begins with us being able to actually give it. But at the end of the day, it has absolutely nothing to do with us, because we're giving it in hopes that it has the possibility to affect or change someone else's life. And so that's just the way that I think about it. I'm sure that other people have different perspectives, but that's just how I think about life and how I really approach life for myself. And I believe another reason why we're so laid back about our health and our fitness is because we don't like having to go through the process of something. Like, we would much rather have that instant gratification. We would much rather have those abs come in overnight. We would much rather have the weight gone in a week or so, but that's not how it works. And so when things don't come as quickly as we want, then we end up giving up quickly as we started. And it's not being fair to ourselves, and it's not giving ourselves a fair chance, because we're always so influenced by what we can get right now that we don't want to actually have to wait for something, without realizing that it's in the wait that you actually become the person that you were supposed to become. Like, I totally believe that, especially when it comes to fitness. Like, when I was 30 pounds heavier, I was a totally different person. And when I got into fitness, I wanted to lose the weight, but it wasn't all about like the instant gratification. But what I learned so much more going through that process than I have in my life, because it taught me discipline, it taught me hard work, it taught me so many different things. And I think that when you are willing to go through the process to get something, then it just makes it so much greater, because whenever you come out on the other side, you come out as a new and improved person. So, is it that you don't have enough time to do the things that are important to you, or are you not spending your time wisely? And that's a question that you're going to have to answer for yourself. I have been in the same boat, because there are still some things that I'm still working through sometimes, that, some things that I haven't managed well. And this podcast is a great example, because I told you guys that I was supposed to record on my regular day, and I'm recording on a Sunday night, which is taking time away from my family and my fiance, but I'm still getting it done. But in spite of that, time management is something that, we all struggle with, something that I'm still working through, but I'm not making excuses for it. And that's the thing. We can't make excuses for the things and for why things aren't getting done. It's all about how you spend your time. And so one thing that I have started doing, and this is one reason why I really do love Apple, is because on Apple and on your iPhones, you have the option to be able to see like a weekly report of how you're spending your time. So at the end of each week, or at the beginning of each week, every Sunday, my phone sends me a report that says how much time I have spent on each app. It tells me how much time I've had screen time in general. And I think this time I was down by like 9%. So that's better, because I was up 9% from last week. So it gives me like the breakdown of everything that I've done over the past week. And, that's helpful, because it helps me to see what areas I need to improve in, and what places I have kind of spent my time and wasted my time. And so I think that when you're able to identify where you're wasting your time, then that's going to be the place that you want to start trying to make changes. And also at the end of each night, I also have a setting on my phone to where all of my apps shut down after 10 p.m. And I do that because not only is my phone about to die by that time, but I also need to recharge. And it's just a good way for me to kind of wind down after the day. My goal in life is to not have to be so drawn to my phone. I really do want to live a life of where I'm able to be present with my family, and with everything that I have going on. I really do want to make it a focus to be present without having to be in front of my phone, without me having to be on social media and all of that stuff. So that's my life goal, and that's how I want it to be designed. And so that's how I'm doing it now, and I'm making small steps to get there. So take that into consideration. Try and get, try it out and let me know what you think about it. All right, so let's talk about some quick and easy ways that we can begin to make more time for ourselves and make time for the things that are important to us, because I know a lot of us are struggling with finding time to just do the simple things in life, whether that's you going to the gym, whether that's you reading a book, whatever that thing is for you. The first thing that we have to do is make sure that we're actually blocking that time off in our schedules. And so it sounds simple and it sounds easy, and that part is easy. But the next part that you have to do is making sure that you're staying intentional about that time. So if you blocked off 3 to 4 o'clock, you need to continue to stick with that time, because when you're able to build consistency in that area, then it becomes a habit and it becomes a part of your daily routine. And ultimately, that's what you want to happen. You want to create a healthy habit, and you want to not only teach yourself to be respectful of your own time, but you also want to teach people how to be respectful of your time as well. So for me, what I've started doing is that I have created this weekly rhythm tracker, and it's basically just a checklist of my daily routine. And as I'm going through my daily routine, I check off everything that I'm doing, every habit that I'm trying to form. I literally check it off. And it might sound crazy and it might sound senseless, but it helps me at least to form new habits. And the great thing about it is that it holds me accountable, because at the end of the week, I'm able to look at this tracker and see how much I have actually got done. And I'm able to tally up my percentage based off of what I actually did in a particular activity. For example, the first thing that I have on my tracker is to make up my bed. And if I can be real with you guys, like I've been making up my bed. It was something that my mom enforced, so I didn't have a choice. But as I became an adult, I slowly kind of eased out of it, and I'm honestly just getting back into it. But I have found that when I do something as simple as making up my bed, it shapes my whole day, and it makes me feel like I've already been productive, even when I may have not really done anything yet. But just me making up my bed in my mind and my mental, it just does something for me, and it makes me feel like I'm starting my day being productive. And if you are interested in the rhythm tracker, I will definitely leave the link of that in my show notes. Make sure that you check it out. I just think that it's a really great tool for you to use to hold yourself accountable and to make sure that you're not just going with the flow of the day, but that you're actually being productive and that you are actually creating some of the habits that you want to see. All right, moving on to number 2. And the next thing you want to do to create time for yourself is making sure that you are flexible, but also making sure that you are not flexible to the point to where you break. And so this is a big one, because I think we have to understand that things come up in life, circumstances arise, distractions come up, and, it just wouldn't be life if things like that didn't happen. But it's so important that you learn to be flexible and don't break. Because what oftentimes happens is that things come up, distractions arise, circumstances come up, and then we find ourselves going off to handle whatever that thing is at the moment, and then we never come back to what we started. We never complete what we started. If your phone rings, your best friend calls you, and then you end up on the phone with her for an hour, how many of us go back to reading that book, or how many of us go back to studying, or whatever it is that we were doing? A lot of times we never go back to finish what we started. And that's why it's so important that you be flexible and not be breakable, because it's during that breaking period that all habits begin to crumble. Everything that you've been working toward, things begin to fall by the wayside, because your brain literally remembers what you did the last time, and you're going to want to go back to what felt comfortable or what got you there in the first place. So be willing to be flexible, but don't break. And the very last one is teach people how to respect your time. And I know that we've all heard the expression that you teach people how to treat you. Well, you also teach people how to respect your time, because if you don't, they'll begin to think that your time is their time. And no, ma'am, no, sir. That's not how it works over here. And how you do that is just by simply saying no. Just say, no, I can't do it. I have something else going on during that time, or I can't come there because I have something planned for myself, or whatever the case may be. Say no and leave it at that. No and a period. As a matter of fact, I don't even want you to explain yourself, because when you get into this thing of trying to explain yourself, then people think that they can talk you out of what you have going on. And that's just not the case here. So saying no, teaching people how to respect your time is so important, and I have had to learn this the hard way, but now I have it. I say no all the time, and I don't feel bad about it, and I don't want you to feel bad about taking care of yourself, because whenever you're willing to say no, it doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that you care about yourself more, and what you have to do for yourself is more important than what they want you to do for them. So I hope that was helpful. And let's go ahead and jump into today's fitness question. Each week I post a prompt on my social media asking you guys to ask me a fitness question, or you can always hit me in my DMs if you just randomly have a question to ask me, and I bring it to the podcast and I I answer it for everyone, because I know that if there is one person who has this question, then I know that there are probably multiple people out there who also want this question answered. So today's question is something that I get asked pretty often, and the question says, how can I lose weight overall without losing my butt? I was told to stop doing cardio if I want to build a butt. And so, of course, this is something that a lot of people are striving toward. They want to lose weight, but they don't necessarily want to lose their butt. So how is this possible? And so the first thing I want to say is that whenever we talk about weight loss, there is no way to spot reduce. So when I say that, it means that there is no way to lose weight in one particular area. Whenever we talk about weight loss comes from all over the body. So you can't choose to just lose weight in your stomach if that's your problem area. You can't choose to just lose weight there, because that's just not how the body works. You can't pick and choose where you want the fat to come from, because the fat is going to come from everywhere. Now, things that you can do in order to maintain your shape in the midst of you trying to lose weight is incorporating some type of strength training, or resistance training. So that means in your workouts, you want to start adding some type of resistance, such as weights or machinery. I always go for like body weight things, and, doing things that are really going to build your butt, or, tighten your core, or whatever the case may be as far as your goals go. But, there is no way to spot reduce, and incorporating some type of strength training into your program is going to be the best for you when we talk about losing weight, but also keeping your shapely figure that you want to maintain. In terms of the cardio aspect, it doesn't mean that you have to stop doing cardio, but it is heavily dependent on your body shape and your body type. So I do suggest that you go and listen to last episode where we talk about body types, because there are some body types where cardio would actually be doing the exact opposite of building muscle in that area. So that's something that you might want to check out. But when it comes to cardio and what type of cardio you want to do in order to actually tighten that area, I would suggest doing something that requires an incline, such as maybe doing interval sprints on the treadmill, doing something like the Stairmaster, or doing some type of HIIT training. And HIIT is an acronym for high intensity interval training. And so maybe that's something that you might want to begin to incorporate into your workouts. But that does not mean that you have to stop doing cardio unless you are doing like long distance running on a totally flat surface. Then yes, that will not only burn fat but burn muscle. So you do want to make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're either doing it at an incline or you're doing it at an interval pace where you might be doing something for sprinting for 30 seconds and then you're resting for a minute. That is the way that I would suggest you do your cardio when you are looking to build muscle in that area. So I hope that this helps, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions. As I said, you can always DM me, or if you have longer questions, you can always email me at verifiedpodcast@gmail.com. And that actually wraps up today's episode. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. As always, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun. Again, if you do want to contact me, if you do have any questions, hit me in the DMs or you can email me. Make sure that you guys are also following us on our social media handles. My Instagram is chiseled_curves and my apparel line is called black_athletics, and that is also on Instagram. We are in the process of building that page up and coming out with some great new apparel for you guys, so be out on the lookout for that. And so yeah, that's it for today. And also, don't forget that in March, we are beginning March Madness. And March Madness is for everyone who is subscribed to the podcast. So make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you rate us. And also make sure that you go to the blog and subscribe as well. So what March Madness is that each and every week of March, I will be sending out full body workouts to all of my subscribers. And this is just my way of saying thank you. This is my way of giving back to you because I do want to see each and every one of you succeed. I don't want you to be a part of that 66 or 73% of people who end up quitting before they actually reach their goals. I do think that you have all the potential in the world, all of the time in the world to be able to accomplish your goals. It's all about creating the right environment and making time for yourself to actually get it done. So make sure that you go ahead and subscribe and rate, and make sure that you shout us out. Share us to your friends. If you find something on here that really stood out to you, make sure that you're commenting. Make sure that you're sharing it with your family and friends. And my goal is for us to become a community of people who can not only pour into one another, but who are being verified in every area of our lives, because that's just who we are. So I will see you guys next week. As always, it's been a pleasure, and peace out.